Does everybody know what time it is?
Time!
That's right. Fleet Pride is proud to present Jason the Fleet Man Morgan.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason the Fleet Man Morgan, and welcome to Uptime, the show where we talk aftermarket, service, solution, parts, finding the right part, right place, right time to get your trucks back up and running. Lots going on there, and today we're talking digital. And by that I mean online parts buying. Look, it's happening. People are buying parts online. They're buying truck parts online. And it might seem like a good deal, might seem like a great idea, but it can be difficult to find that right part. Maybe you get the box and what looked like the right part on the computer screen did not look like the part you needed when it showed up, or maybe it wasn't a complete part. There's a lot going on, and it's more complicated than jumping online and buying something that you need for your personal life. This is more complicated, and you need the right part for your commercial vehicle. So today, we're talking with Ken Clinchy, the Vice President of Digital and E-Commerce with Fleet Pride, to get our arms around what's possible out there in the world of digital parts buying for commercial vehicles and what to look for when you're out there searching for a part. So let's talk with Ken. Hey, Ken, great to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jason.
Right, so let's start with finding the right part, because it sounds really basic, but it's all often very difficult to find that right part. Right part, right place, right time. It's the bread and butter of the aftermarket, right? How have online options changed this process?
Yeah, online has really made it easier for customers to find what they're looking for. And a lot of times customers are looking for parts they've bought before. They know the part number. You know, we have a very educated population in the heavy duty aftermarket. And so allowing them to self-serve on a digital platform makes it a lot faster. They can check pricing, they can check inventory, they can understand transit times. And so it's made these massive catalogs, right? You know, the last paper catalog we put out there, I think, was 900 plus pages. And we've taken that and we've distilled it into digital content. And so that's really helping our customers to be much faster and much more efficient. And not just our customers, I mean, our employees as well, to find parts. And so it's really evolving out there in the space. I mean, digital is relatively new in the heavy duty space. But as we get feedback from customers and we understand how they're searching, we're able to make improvements to the search experience and give them that one-stop shop for all of their heavy-duty truck parts. And search is really the heart of it, right? To your point, if you can't find the part, it really doesn't matter. There's not much more I can do. And so finding that part is really key and where we're placing a lot of investment.
Right. Okay. So and there's two parts in there. I want to dig in on the search part first, and then I want to come back to, I mean, you mentioned experts in the industry, right? I know relationships still play a very strong role in this process, but let's stick with search here, right? How do I know I'm finding the right part, right? These parts are often specialized or even maybe specific to me to some degree as I've spec'd my trucks. I need diagrams and dimensions in addition to the part numbers. So how has all that transitioned to the digital world in a user-facing experience?
Yeah, great question. So if we think about it and we take a little bit of the blueprint from the automotive space, everything is year, make, model, engine.
Yep.
It's relatively simple. That's the easy way to find things. As you mentioned, and you said spec in your question, that doesn't work in heavy duty, right? And so we have to find a hybrid of options. So we do offer year, make, model, engine lookup, which will get you some parts, right? There are some parts where we can say, hey, that's the standard on that truck, and confirm it for you. Right. But really, outside of that, it comes down to having a part number, having cross references, and being able to narrow down what you're looking for, and then using, to your point, parts diagrams, cross-reference tables, spec information, photos with measurements, all these different things to be able to narrow down and say, yes, I'm holding, the right valve in my hand. I can see the ports, and that is the right valve. And so it's not quite as simple. And so we're experimenting with a couple of different ways to make that easier, especially when you get into the more complex parts. And how do I walk a customer through a diagram? Because Today, you have a heavy duty parts expert sitting on the other side of the counter who's interpreting that diagram and going through the catalog and doing all that work. But the future is customers want to be able to do that themselves because they want to be able to do it on demand. And sure, when you hit a wall, it's great to be able to call a parts expert. But if you can figure it out yourself pretty quickly, it's much faster for the customer to just do it. So yes, that we're digitizing. One, I mentioned we digitized our giant catalog,
Right.
but we also continue to add digital assets, things like diagrams, things like vendor supporting information, warranty information, all of the other things that a customer is going to want to be able to feel secure that they've chosen the right part. Because outside of finding a part, you want to find the right part because going through returns, it's got to be shipped to you. Like you don't want to go down that path. So we really tried to do everything we can to give customers indication and information that they have the right part and they can feel confident in it.
Okay, good. And I want to call that out too. So you're saying that that should be available on the platform or site that you're looking at? Because, I mean, you think about it, it's kind of the Wild West right now in terms of the digital aftermarket world.
Yes.
We have companies like yourself that's really investing and bringing solutions to the market that includes all of those important pieces and parts, the diagrams and the dimensions. But then there are other retailers online that may have a part that may work and, oh, that price is really attractive. But then to your point, you hit buy, it shows up, gosh, maybe a week later. And then, oh, that's not the part that I need. And then you're going through the report. I mean, I don't run trucks, but I've even just bought lawnmower parts for an engine that just, it's like, oh yeah, that looks right. It was not correct. And that engine is still not working. So you don't want that to happen to your trucks, right? How do you bring in, you mentioned those trusted partners and those people that you have relationships with, they have relationships with your customers and fleets. How do you bring them into this digital world of finding the right part and make sure that value doesn't get lost in that digital world?
So one of the things that I want to touch on that you mentioned, that's a really good point. We hear from customers stories all the time of, hey, I thought I ordered this part, but what showed up in the box was something completely different.
Right.
Or I thought it was the complete kit, but what I got was actually only, one landing gear leg or something like that. Right. And so back to the point of product data and being as transparent as possible with customers on, what's in the kit, what are they getting, is key. When all of that when the customer hits a roadblock and all that doesn't solve, we still have the trusted parts expert, and in a couple of different ways. So the biggest one for us online is chat. So we staff with actual parts experts from our counters. We've got hundreds of years of experience. And so if you hit that roadblock and you're like, I'm just not sure if this is the right part, you hit that chat button, and instead of going to, a call center or customer service, you're talking to someone on the counter. And this guy has been helping, heavy duty folks just like you for years.
Right.
And they can say, oh, well, if you just look, if you look under this tab, you'll see this. And that'll tell you if it's the right part. And they go, oh, hey, it's the right part. Thank you so much. And proceed with their buying journey. The other piece for us, and I think it's important for all of the retailers in our space, all of the distributors, is customers want an omni-channel solution, right? They want the same experience in the store as they get online. And so for us, everything digital goes back to a branch. We fulfill from the branches. The branches see all the activity that's happening. The customer, again, does not lose that connection with the local branch and the local expert that they treasure so much.
Right.
Those orders are, being delivered by the same people. We're just giving the customer a way to find their own parts and order them, when they need to. And for customers, it's fantastic. They can put an order in before the branch opens, after the branch closes. Hey, the branch is really busy. I can't get through on the phone. I'm going to put it through digitally. And so they still maintain that connection, even though they're ordering through digital channels. And that's key to us. And I think should be key to everyone in the industry because the relationships aren't going away. Mm-hmm. Digital just allows us to add another layer of service to the customers that we can help them in ways that we couldn't before.
Okay. I want to unpack a couple quick things there. First, I'm glad to know that your chat is actual people. And people
Yes.
at Fleet Pride that know the part. Because honestly, I mean, not with you all, but just when I'm online and a chat bubble pops up, and I'm talking with someone, I'm always wondering, is it a person? I mean, with ChatGPT now and everything, like, okay, how do I ask you a question to see if you're really responding to
Right.
me and not just an AI trying to solve my
Yep.
problem, right? The other, I want to get in the weeds a little bit here because I think this is an important point. In the heavy duty aftermarket right now, when you're buying parts, again, wild west of how you do that online. So you're saying in the Fleet Pride world, when I go on your site, right, that omni-channel, and I'm searching for a part and I click buy, that's coming from Bob, who's down the road at the Fleet Pride branch, who I know, right? So I still have that relationship. Or if I'm looking at a part, I could even pick up the phone and call Bob, like, hey, Bob, I see this. All that happens though on the back end in your world, right? All those connections. Because from the user experience, I just see the part and I hit buy, but we still have that connection to the branch. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. And we give you options on how you want to get that part.
Okay.
So again, you can say, "Hey, I want to go down and pick it up from Bob
Oh,
because
okay.
I want to ask Bob a question," or you can say, "Ship it to me." I feel confident because I talked to Bob on the phone. He assured me that I've got the right part. So it's really up to the customer how they want to continue to interact with the branch.
Oh, super cool.
But a lot of our customers will use that, buy online, pick up in store that you see so much in retail. And our customers love that, right? They're still going into the branch. They're still maintaining that relationship. It's just their parts are picked and ready for them, and they go and grab them, and they're on their way versus having to wait to identify, to go through checkout, and all the things that happen when you go into the branch.
Okay, that's really cool, and probably a huge technology lift on your end too, because we have some platforms of where I can go in and see the part and location, but then I can't order there. I got to call my local distributor and go through all that. But to be able to have that all connection, that's a interesting. That's a big technology advancement right there.
Yeah, it's huge, and our customers really appreciate it. And the other thing that we do is we try to be, again, back to the transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Customers can go and see inventory and not their pricing, but general pricing without logging in. And so
Oh,
that's
okay.
the other thing. A lot of distributors keep everything behind login. We
Yes.
try to say, hey, you're in a rush. I'm under a truck. I'm trying to find a part. I need to know if you have it in stock. I'm going to send someone anyway. I'm okay if you don't purchase it online, right? As the digital guy, I shouldn't say that, but that's not what I'm after. What I'm after is
Right.
helping customers.
Right.
And so if me telling you that it's in stock at your local branch in Dallas or Atlanta, whatever it is going to help you get that part faster, that's what I want to do. And so we're really working on, so we have a new platform release coming in the new year. And the reason we're doing that is to make the website faster, and to make it easier for folks to check out, because again, it's all about, as you know, downtime. And the quicker that somebody can get through and figure out, do we have it, and do we have it close to them, or how quickly can I get it?
Right.
The more useful the site becomes to them.
Right, for sure. Well, and I feel like it also, again, going back to maintaining that relationship I have with the branch, it doesn't feel at arm's length. A lot of online buying can feel kind of, I don't know, sterile, or you're at arm's length there. You know what I mean? You don't really know who's behind the curtain, but knowing that you still have that trusted partner. How does that extend? I mean, you've given a lot of great examples here of the looking for the right part and finding the right part. What about after sale? How is that handled? If I buy online, can I, and I have an issue, can I work with the branch? Do I go through a different call center type situation? How does that relationship after the sale work?
So it's one of the things that we really focus on, because as you said, in our own personal lives, the worst experience you can have is, hey, I buy something online and I go into the store to return, and they're like, sorry, you bought it from a different division. Right. Well, hey, the name on the front of the building is the same as the website that I bought it on. Right. So and this, to your point, from a technology lift, we make sure that all of our systems are in sync. So if you buy it online, they can see that transaction in the branch, and vice versa. And so when you want to make a return, you can do that online. You can contact our customer support, or you can go into the branch and bring them that part. And the other unique piece of it is, as we stood up our digital footprint, we knew that customer support and again, quick response times were going to be key. And so we actually built out a customer support organization that's purely dedicated to digital. And so if you want to deal with a centralized customer service organization, happy to do that for you. Or if you'd prefer to deal with Bob down at the branch because he knows, something specifically about you, you can also do that. And so we try to give customers both options for the after sales support that they need. The other thing is, for most customers in the space, they're not one and done, right? They're a customer for a very long time. So that support is really key to us. And probably one of the biggest pain points in the heavy duty space is returns. And we say returns and we think of, shipping things back to Amazon, but it's far more complex in the heavy duty space. We have cores, we have warranties, we have all kinds of nuances in the return process. And we hear from customers all the time how painful core management is, knowing when my return eligibility is up, all of these things, or, what's the warranty on this product. And so what FleetPride is doing is we're investing in a new platform that will streamline all of that into one self-service if the customer wants to do it, or make it very easy for the branches to process. The branches today do a phenomenal job of taking care of our customers and making it easy. Mm-hmm. But the reality is in the background, it's very manual, very complex. And so we're investing in a whole new system that'll help customers to do warranty, core returns, regular product returns, all of that. In a very simplified manner to where they can somewhat manage it themselves and not have to make it very complex. And so that's a big pain point in the industry, and I think one that we're uniquely positioned to help resolve, and we're really going after it.
Yeah, well, and one that's not unique to the aftermarket. It's within all walks of life of the heavy-duty world. And to your point, having one location where all my records can be kept right, because as a fleet user, I need to do my due diligence, make sure that my records are kept, and I know what I've used it for, and I know what I've done, and here's the time when that happened, and not lost in a file cabinet somewhere trying to figure out if this is good for warranty or not still. That is a huge plus as fleets continue to do that kind of work. One quick final question for you here, because I get the sense people might say in the heavy duty aftermarket, people aren't buying parts online. They are buying parts online. Whatever you think, people are not doing this. No, they are definitely doing this across the board, right? So do you have any advice or takeaways or what people should expect in an online buying experience when it comes to heavy duty commercial trucks, getting the right part? What are some assumptions there that maybe you want to reconsider?
Yeah, so if I look at some of our industry experts in the space, and they're predicting that digital will be 50% of all heavy duty sales by the year 2027. Wow, okay. So for everyone saying it's not happening, it's definitely happening, right. And it's happening very fast. And that's a function of a number of things, right? COVID changed the way that we all looked at how we buy. That's not surprising to anyone, but it changed the heavy duty space too. Right. And as new entrants come into the space, they're coming from other verticals or other industries where digital is big, and they're saying, why can't I do it here? And so they're asking that of their suppliers. And so I think, the challenge that we have today, and you said earlier, is it is a little bit of the wild, wild west out there. And so anyone can stand up a website. Anyone can say, hey, I'm a distributor of X part. Right. And you have no idea if that guy is buying from the junkyard down the street or he's actually an authorized distributor. And so I think one of the things is to trust, some of the offline brands that today that are coming online. That's a big deal, because if you can physically walk into that branch or that store or that DC or that location, that doesn't have to be FleetPride, could be a number of different vendors. Right. That, okay, at least this is backed by someone that I can touch and feel and see. Right. And as we get over that maturity hump and we really start to see more, digitally native customers, I think it'll get better. But I think right now the challenge is you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know, one of the biggest ones is in stock, right? So you'll see a lot of websites out there that'll say, yeah, we have it in stock. Well, that means they can get their hands on it. It doesn't really mean it's sitting in their warehouse, right? And so like with FleetPride, and this is true of, the bigger players in the space, when we say in stock, we mean we physically have the inventory to ship to you, right? And so that's a big deal. And you've got to be careful again as we go through this process of digitizing the industry. The bad players will get weeded out. But today, they may be well intentioned. I mean, I shouldn't say bad. They may be very well intentioned. But again, you've got a job to do. You need to get that truck back on the road. You need a dependable partner that is truly going to ship you the part. And honestly, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. And that's what we see a lot in the space. So I would say, for folks is understand it's coming. It's definitely changing. Digital is here and it's here to stay. But understand who you're buying from, make sure you do your homework, and make sure you're getting the part that you expect.
Right. Ken, great talking to you today. I learned a ton. It was great to catch up. I'm sure we'll talk to you very soon as more of this develops.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
There you go. Wonderful conversation with Ken. I think one of the big takeaways for me is how much the relationship still matters. Yes, we're buying parts online. Yes, we're looking at digital inventories. We're looking for diagrams. We're looking for specifications to make sure we're getting the right part. But at the end of the day, I want to know that I'm trusting the person to get me that part, right? This is still very much a relationship business. Fleets have cultivated relationships with their parts people for many, many years. That still matters. There's still value there. Really cool to hear about that. I appreciate you all taking the time to connect with us. And until next time, you know what time it is.
Uptime!